This is not a review, this is more first impressions type of thing. I only titled it review for more clicks and stuff like that. Also, another thing is that this game is great. Buy it right now if you haven't already. But this isn't a normal standard review because I couldn't play through all 3 games or all the DLCs. That would take literally months. I'm not even joking. Literal months. It's really these games are really beefy. But only with good stuff, no bloat or anything. This isn't a Ubisoft game, you know. Besides, last year's Ubisoft games, which I actually thought were good. But I digress. This is the definitive way to play Mass Effect. The game may not look amazing, but it's a remastered, not a remake. It honestly doesn't even matter because all 3 games are so immersive. The story is completely captivating in all 3 games. Also, all the games still hold up to date. Besides Mass Effect 1, even after all the changes in Mass Effect 1, it still feels kind of dated in some areas. Um, that's why it got the most changes out of the 3 also, because, still felt dated. But, now on the Mass Effect 1, now onto Mass Effect 1 changes, excuse me, the camera is more zoomed out, so when you go to cover, you can see everything. In Mass Effect 1, you couldn't even see Shepard sometimes in cover. You can also be a female Shepard in all 3 games, and there's more stuff in Character Creator, and also the shooting just feels better. In Mass Effect 1, um, there was no aim assist, okay, in the original version, no aim assist. But now in the console versions, there's aim assist, and the shooting feels more snappy and more fluid and smooth. But not as good as Mass Effect 2 or 3. There is also a new leveling system. There's 2. On Legendary, it scales you faster in the original, because in the original, you could beat the entire game and you wouldn't even be max level. But now, on Legendary, if you don't even need to beat the last game, you don't even need to beat the whole game, and you'll be on the highest level and stuff like that. In original, which you can switch back to, you would have to play the game do everything in the game to reach max level, basically. But now on Legendary, it actually makes you feel like you are progressing, you're getting more powerful, you're getting more abilities and stuff like that. Also, on the Mako parts, you can switch to original controls or the new ones. Please do not switch to the original. I didn't think they're terrible. It's just they feel super outdated now. And even though I'm not that old, I just could say, I still feel like it still feels dated, you know. I would keep the new controls because it just feels less floaty. You have more control and stuff like that. One other thing is the game runs really well. No FPS drops like in the original games. They had some FPS drops. This one has none. But the game did crash once on me though, so that's something to take in consideration. I don't know if it'll crash more if I play like dozens more hours, but who knows. If you think the value of the game isn't good, you're wrong. It comes with 3 games, they're each over 60 hours long, and then you can do all the DLCs, which is there's 10 DLCs, I think. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's about 10. This is the best way to play Mass Effect series. They're not only just visually, but just technically. People might say it's like a Nintendo cash grab or whatever, but it's not like that at all. If you play the remastered and then play the original right after, you can really tell and feel the differences. Now let's talk about what you do in the game. The game is a sci-fi adventure with RPG and third-person shooter elements. Mass Effect 1 is the most RPG out of them, and then it gets more action-oriented in the later games, but not to the point where it loses its identity like in Resident Evil. This Resident Evil all the way to freaking 6 or whatever. Yeah, and it honestly didn't matter in this game because the story and characters were so damn good, and it still kept its sci-fi identity at the end of the day. But then another thing is, like I said, the characters are so damn good, the story's so good, but then they were thrown away in the ending of Mass Effect 3, all the hard work and everything, and that ending, or endings, and I kind of just abandoned that. But in my opinion, I don't think the ending isn't as bad as a lot of people said it is. I think it's good. Not at all do I think it's bad. Yeah, I guess, but it's not terrible, in my opinion. These games are super unique, and they're each great in their own. They're each have their okay. They have their own identity, but at the same time, they still feel like they're in the same franchise. It's like a Mario game. All three of the Mario games, they play pretty differently and stuff, but they have the same core like identity and stuff like that. And that's what makes Mass Effect so great, in my opinion. Another thing is the side quests are actually good. The choices are tough and matter because you may never see the people again if you make certain choices. Also, you can romance some characters. Almost every character is good, and they never feel bad and stuff. They're always good and believable. I mean, besides a couple, but overall they're all pretty great. The combat never gets stale at all. Well, not in Mass Effect 2 or 3. Mass Effect 1 can get a bit stale at some points, but if you have Legendary mode on, you can get abilities and it'll feel more fresh more often. The trilogy will have a special place in your heart when you start playing it. Very few games have a world and unforgettable feeling like Mass Effect. It feels like the best MCU movies and the best original trilogy of Star Wars. The best trilogy of Star Wars, the original. It's just the world. It's very atmospheric. The characters are great and stuff like that. This is something you won't forget and something you can replay over and over again. Please do me a favor and buy the game.